All right, guys, welcome to the Onelife Podcast. Today, you got the pleasure of having Ricco with us.
Yep, good to be here.
Thank you for meeting, man. Have you ever done podcasts before?
I've done a few podcasts.
Oh, you have?
Yeah,
Awesome. What caught my eye about you at first was obviously you're in great shape, you compete, and now learning that you're a businessman. I'm very excited to pick your brain, see what you can share with the people out there.
I mean, like we touched base, the common denominator is discipline. I mean, that's bottom line. If you don't have discipline in anything, you're not going to get far. It doesn't matter, relationships, bodybuilding, diet, business, finances. Discipline is like the bottom pillar, and the biggest enemy is laziness. Plain and simple. If you're lazy, you're going to make an excuse.
And do you find that victim mentality, pointing the finger, blaming other people? My parents didn't teach me how to make money. My parents didn't teach me how to lose weight. It's easy to sit back and majority of people do that these days, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like, I grew up in LA.
Yep.
Right. English wasn't my first language.
Oh, was it?
It wasn't my first language. So every excuse in the book, I'm like, okay, I have that too. And then that's how you move forward. So to an extent, you can say, well, I didn't know, I didn't learn, I didn't do this. Okay, so you know you can learn from their mistakes. Why make the mistake? So like in my family, finances aren't that great. They're not good at budgeting. They're not good at financial discipline or financial literacy, to be honest. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to be that way. Why not me? So like for my family, I'm Hispanic, and they're like, oh, I want a Mercedes. It's a white people car.
Oh, really?
That simple. Like it's like you get, they just, anything that you want to better yourself, you're like, no, I didn't do it, so you can't do it.
That limited environmental restraint, wouldn't you say, right? Like,
it is, yeah.
You know, when rich people grow up rich and they see opportunities, they know it's possible. But when you grow up poor or you don't grow up with much, your environment limits your imagination and your ability, unless you're like yourself and you seek further.
It just depends. I mean, at the end of the day, regardless of your personality, you have to be a leader, and sometimes you got to step up in your family, and you got to be the first one, and you're going to be met with negativity, and it's just because they didn't figure it out. They don't think you can figure it out.
But I feel like the same thing goes to fitness and being in shape, right? If you're a family, everyone's overweight, and you want to strive, even your spouse for that matter, if you want to be in better shape, everyone's trying to, in Australia, we call it the tall poppy syndrome, where other people try to pull you back to make themselves feel comfortable. Yeah. As soon as you start breaking away, you start making other people feel uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's how it is with any of your goals, right? Like in fitness, you look great. Okay, but I have a goal. Okay, I'm 6 weeks out. Yeah, but you can have a beer, you can have a burger. No, I have a goal for 6 weeks. So it's the same thing. If your goal is to save $10,000 and you get to 7, what if they're, friend, partner, whatever, it's like, oh, let's go on vacation, let's buy something. You have $7,000, you can go back down to 5 and you'll get to your goal. You're like, but that's not my goal. And it's just, they just don't want you to pass that level.
How do you make that important enough where you achieve your goal and you just don't let anyone else influence that?
The main thing is you have to be okay with yourself.
What do you mean by that?
You have to trust yourself. A lot of times you don't follow through. You're not like, well, okay, I'm going to do this tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, you're like, fuck it, I'll do it the next day.
So you don't hold yourself accountable enough.
Exactly.
And if you don't hold yourself, another guy's mentioned that, Byron, if you don't hold yourself accountable, no one else is going to, right?
Who cares? Nobody cares if you're successful.
No.
At the same time, people are hating on you all the time. Like, oh, so-and-so got this. Oh, it's because of that. It's always, it's because of. Not, oh yeah, they're on their shit, or oh yeah, I've seen them working, or oh yeah, it's never that. It's never positive.
They read 100 books, they failed a couple of businesses, and they finally figured it out. Oh, they inherited money, they're a drug dealer.
Yeah, it's always something.
Yeah.
Or they got lucky, or this, or it's not. It's work.
It's hard work and consistency, right?
Yeah, that's how it is. Like right now, I'm fortunate that my business everything's doing well, and I'm on top. But everyone thinks it happened overnight, and I'm like, I've been grinding for 10 years. I lived in a car, like I did a bunch of stuff.
Talk to me about the hustle and the grind. Like,
I mean, that's all. I mean, it's literally, you have to envision what you want. You're like, why not me? What do I need to do to get that? Instead of some people that do the victim mentality where they're like, I'll never have that. Like my goal growing up, I'm like, I want a Mercedes, I want a Bentley, I want a BMW, right? And then my parents like, well, that's, doctors, lawyers, this and this. I'm like, no, there's other ways. I'm like, I'm not a rapper or anything, but I was like, if someone can figure it out, why can't I? And right now we live in a perfect time where social media, you're seeing how people do it.
The blueprint's there, right?
Yeah.
The blueprint's never been easier to find.
It's there, but it's doing the work. Are you willing to sacrifice?
That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Do you like Gary Vee?
I've listened to him, yeah.
Yeah, he talks about fitness guys. He goes, fitness guys with six packs, they're willing to diet and they're willing to bust their butt for fitness. But when it comes to business, they're looking for the quick way.
Exactly.
He talks about that a lot. He goes, they can hustle and grind here, but they can't bring it over to that.
Because they get scared.
It's the exact same mindset, right?
It's the same thing.
It's patience, it's discipline, it takes time.
Exactly.
You gotta like put the blinders up, not care about anyone else's opinions, do you for you.
I mean, how many people in fitness have you met and they love it? It doesn't matter where they place, it doesn't matter what they're doing or whatever, that's a passion. So that's how business is. Either you have it or you don't.
How do you feel about chasing money opposed to passion? I feel like a lot of people start businesses, oh, this is going to make me the most amount of money. Yeah. But I'm a big believer, like, follow your passion, then figure out how to get paid for it. Where are you kind of?
My philosophy is, because I've been both.
Okay.
When you chase the money, it's never enough. And it's never going to be what you're looking for.
Interesting.
Versus when you chase your passion, money's going to be a byproduct.
It's a bonus, right?
Because you're willing to put in the work. If you're passionate about pets, right? And you spend hours and hours and hours researching and playing, and you're, the dog whisperer, you're going to make money as a byproduct. Because they're like, oh, this guy put thousands of hours. How much to do this? And then you get compensated for all those hours.
I love that. Because you're right. You get obsessive with something, and all of a sudden, like, people see the value in the hard work and the education you put in on it, and then you can provide value.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because I first started, my first job, I was personal training, and I was so passionate about it. Then when I got paid for it, I was like, oh my God, I just got paid to do what I loved.
Yeah.
And from the rest of my life, I've always thought about that. What do I love? If I had all the money in the world and I didn't have to worry about money, what would I do?
Exactly.
And I'd do a podcast, I'd shoot photos, I'd do videos. So I know I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing.
Yeah, and then eventually you're going to get compensated for it. Like Conan O'Brien has this quote where he's like, okay, everyone's ringing a bell, right? So like in bodybuilding, everyone's ringing a bell. It's not always the best or whoever gets noticed. It's whoever's still ringing at the end. So it's like bodybuilding. You can do this 10 years and eventually you're going to outperform whoever and you're going to get your goal.
Gotcha.
And the same thing, it's like I'm a basketball fan, right?
Okay.
Kobe, MJ, LeBron, all these guys, right? Everyone's like, oh, they're the best to ever do it, the talent. But if you actually listen to their interviews, they're like Kobe, for example, I like the way the ball sounds on the floor. He's like, I train from 4 to 6, then I take a nap, and then train from 9 to 11, and then I hang out with my family, and then I train again, then I train again. He has that passion. So he's one of the best to ever do it, not because he was born, but because he put in the work. People don't want to do that.
Will Smith says that a lot. He goes, hard work beats talent any day.
Every time, because talent, if you're not doing it, then it doesn't matter. If you're the best photographer in the world, but you haven't taken a picture.
That's huge, right?
Exactly.
We talk about that a lot. Like, knowing and doing is two different things.
Exactly.
So many people know how to get lean or know how to lose weight, but there's a new stat that 40% of Americans are obese now.
Yeah.
So everyone knows what to do, but no one's doing it.
The information's there. We live in a society where you have a computer on your phone. You can Google whatever you want. You can YouTube whatever you want. It's not a secret. It's just putting in the work.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 32.
Okay, I'm 42. So like, I grew up where to get information, it was so hard to find, but it's like you said, you pick up your phone and you can learn anything.
Yeah.
And everyone's got an excuse why they don't know how to run Facebook ads or they don't know how to.
Exactly.
It's nuts, right?
And I always tell people, like, when I do consulting, they're like, oh, a business license is, a couple $100. That's a lot. And I was like, okay, how much have you spent on brunch or Uber
Coffee,
or whatever in 2 or 3 weeks? And then they don't say anything. I'm like, it's the same shit. What's more important to you? A business license is good for a year. A brunch, going out with your friends, that's 2 times, 3 times, and that's it.
Getting your priorities right.
Yeah, it's having that discipline. Like, okay, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to do this. And for me, when I moved here, I was 18. None of my friends were like, oh, you never come around, because I was trying to figure shit out. When I was broke, like obviously every college kid's broke, and I was like, I don't want to be broke. One, I was surprised I even made it to college because I wasn't thinking of going.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I need to figure this shit out because I don't want to live the life that I've been living. I want to be better myself, and I want to make the next generation better. And for me, it's always like minorities always have an uphill battle. For me specifically, I feel like if you're a minority, you have to work twice as hard. You have to be twice as polite, twice on time, twice everything, just to get the respect that someone else has.
Which is stupid.
It's stupid, but
it's fact, right?
It's the reality.
Yeah. Talk to me about your environment. Like, you came from an environment where it wasn't supportive. Like, they're trying to like contain you, restrict you.
Yeah.
How did you break away from that? And have you got a better environment now, the right friends and the right influence?
Everything changes. I keep my circle small.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same.
Like, you have a lot of acquaintances. Everybody wants to be your friend, right? But my true friends, I can count on one hand.
Okay.
It's super small because you want to be with like-minded people.
Like your 5 closest friends, your biggest influence, right?
You
so
know,
you're a big believer of that.
Oh, absolutely. Because it's the same thing. I mean, right now, like one of the terms I use with my wife is mental leeches. People that just ask, and they're just draining you. And you're like, holy fuck, Google it. It's super easy stuff. Like, how do I start a business license? Google it first. Help yourself first, and then come at me.
Yeah. When you get stuck.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm a big believer. Those that don't increase you will eventually decrease you.
Yeah.
Someone's not adding value to your life, generally they're going to take value from your life.
Yeah.
So I find that's a good reason to keep a friend, and I don't mean like diss a friend, but just don't have that in that close.
No, I mean, you have to reevaluate at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you and your partner, you're a team. When shit hits the fan and you need something, it's you and her. That's it. All the noise, all your acquaintances, they'll be like, oh, I wish I could help you, but I can't. I wish I could help you, but I can't. Or I can't right now, or this or that. You have to keep your circle small. You have to think like, okay, if I need help, who's going to be there? And it's not even financially. It's who can I call that's going to be there emotionally? Who's going to call and like help me get grounded, or help me see what I need to see, or whatever it might be. Even
just understand the hustle you're going through.
Yeah.
Like if you're working at Walmart, you're just a checkout chick. You're not going to understand what it's like running a business and having moving parts and real estate investing.
Exactly.
And I'm not dissing someone who does that, but you're on 2 different levels. You need someone who's going to understand from your perspective,
exactly.
Right?
And that's the thing. It's everyone always complains about the system, right? The system's broken, rich people this, blah, blah, blah. Then why do you have a job that's in the system? When you're self-employed, you write your own checks, you're planting your own flag. Yeah, it might not work at first, or you're going to work a lot of hours for free. That's why it's important to find your passion, because when you work on your passion, it doesn't feel like work. And you're going to put in the work.
100%, right?
That's how it is. Like, I mean, when you started your podcast and your photography and everything, how many photo shoots, how many videos did you edit?
Many.
How many hours have you put in for free?
So many.
Before you even get your first check.
Even my podcast already, the amount of hours I put in daily on that, but I love it. I absolutely love it. And then I get to talk to people like you, and I love it even more.
Yeah.
And somehow I get paid for this. I'm just going to be like, this is the best thing ever.
I mean, think of it like this. Like you said, like, okay, you look like Joe Rogan, right? You look up to him, his style of podcast.
Yeah.
Is his podcast any different from this episode to his first episode? But now he's worth $100 million. It's the same shit. It's the same format. He's Joe Rogan. He's a man's man. He's a cool guy to talk to. It's like super low key. But the only thing that changed was the numbers. The process is the same.
Yeah, and just that consistency and that commitment, right?
Exactly.
And that being patient. And I'm sure you're a big believer in patience.
Oh yeah, I'm the least patient person, but that's one of the key success is your investment.
Nothing worthwhile is going to come overnight. And all these people who want to be in shape overnight or lose weight overnight or have a successful business.
Yeah, they get sick or they do it the wrong way, or there's a bunch of shortcomings.
And social media kind of skews a little bit, because I feel like everybody kind of like people thought you were an instant success.
Yeah.
The people didn't see you grinding for 9 years by yourself, isolated.
Yeah, they don't see, I'm like, oh, am I going to Jack in the Box or am I going to put gas in my car? Or like, oh, like, okay, I'm going to sleep in my car and then take a shower at the gym. Like, they don't see all that, all those steps. They just see like, oh, he travels every other month, or he does this, or he does that, or this is what he has. And I'm like, yeah, but it's been 10 years to get there.
Have you ever had anyone genuinely come to you and like, hey, how'd you do it? And actually generally ask some intelligent questions and listen and take action? Or most people just waste your time?
It's a lot of people waste time. And when I charge a consulting fee, if I feel like they're going to use it and I say they're doing the steps, I'll give it back.
Oh, really?
I don't need the money.
How good's that?
So like that's all it is. Like, I'm like, all right, this guy's for real. This guy's legit. I'll give him the money back. And I'm like, use that money for this. If this is your process, do it for that.
Love that. That's amazing.
Because it's like, at the same time, why am I going to charge somebody? I wish I had that opportunity. I wish I had access to that.
But that money is going to make them, if they're paying that money, it shows that they're actually committed to a certain point, right? It's kind of like if you go to a personal trainer. Like if someone asks me about nutrition advice, you're paying top dollar, because I want to know you're serious. Yeah. I'm so sick of people wasting my time.
Exactly.
I'm sure you're on the same page.
Because it's the same shit. Like you can say it over and over and over, and you're like, you look the same. Like, oh, but beer or this or that. I'm like, no, you know the route. You just
excuses.
Don't do it. Yeah, it's excuses. And like my consulting fee is not cheap.
Yeah.
So it's like it's $600 an hour is a lot.
No, that is a lot.
I know it's a lot.
But the value you're providing, that experience, is priceless.
Yeah. And that's why I'm like, okay, if this guy's legit for real, I don't need $600. Like, what am I? Like whatever. You'll get it back, and if I can help somebody that way, I will, because those are resources I wish I had.
Okay.
It took me 10 years to get where I'm at because I made a lot of fucking mistakes.
Yeah, that's my next question.
You make every mistake in the book, and then you figure it out. Like, that's the way you get successful: is fuck up, do all the fuck up, so you have nothing left to fuck up. And eventually, all there is to do is all the right decisions.
What's been some of your biggest mistakes and biggest lessons along the way?
I think the biggest thing is just like buying into other people's hype. People want to buy designer things or nice things when they truly can't afford it. So really staying in your lane, living within your means, regardless of what other people say.
So do you found yourself buying stuff that you shouldn't have?
Yeah, you buy designer things just because everybody, like when I was in college, True Religion was wearing, right? $150 jeans that I could not fucking afford, but I figure out a way to buy one, and then I'm like, all right, I'm going to eat fucking ramen for, the rest of the month.
I'm like, so I drive a cheap car, it's paid in cash, I live in a smaller unit, as you see, but I'm living below my means.
Yeah.
And when I make money, it's my money.
Exactly.
And I feel like it takes a certain type of person to understand. And I feel like someone like you would understand that grind, because I know I've got bigger, better goals long term.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to impress somebody. I don't care what car I drive. If someone's worried about what shoes I wear or what car I drive, it's not the right person.
It's not even that. It's eventually those people aren't going to be in your life.
100%, right?
So why risk something to impress someone that's not going to be there?
I love that.
And that's like what social media kind of distorts everything. They make it seem like, oh, this person's taking a picture at a car dealership. Oh, this person's doing this. But then you're like, okay, in reality, it's a lease, or it has a lot of miles, or live at home, or they have all these debts, or this or that. Is not what it is.
It's like, it's shiny on the outside.
Exactly.
No one knows what's behind it.
There's no substance.
Yeah. I saw a TikTok yesterday. It was like, nobody with money wears Gucci.
Yeah.
Like, nobody with true money wears these high-end brands, because they know better.
I mean, it's just preference.
Yeah.
I mean, like I wear it, but for me, it's more like man, I couldn't afford it then, I can afford it now.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, I enjoy there's nothing wrong with having nice things. Like I know a lot of wealthy people that have designer things and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's below their means. That just means like their means are so much that $500 belt, it's like $5 to a regular person.
It's that what's the name? Talks about it a lot. Can't remember his name. Sorry, I got off track then. So mistakes. What's like some of the biggest mistakes you've kind of?
The biggest mistakes is patience, cashing out too early. Like when you invest in stocks or whatever it is, you cash out too early.
Just like getting obsessed with it.
Exactly.
And not just letting go.
Well, that like one of the things that helped me change my perspective on stocks, because I did a lot of stocks in the beginning and I lost a lot, was Warren Buffett. He has a quote where he's like, when you're investing in stocks, you can't think of stocks. You're investing in that company.
Yeah, I've heard him say that.
So when you invest in that company, you're thinking long term. Like I think his example is Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So he's like, okay, Coca-Cola is going to be around
forever,
probably forever.
Yeah.
So if you have a bad week, it's not a big deal. And that's how you have to kind of think of that mentality in your business, right? If you start your own business, whatever it might be, you're going to have bad weeks. But do you think your business is going to end because of that bad week? And it's the same thing for anything. You might have a downfall, a bad day, whatever it is. No matter what, tomorrow the sun's going to come up. You're going to have another opportunity to fix it. Either you learn from it or you let it affect you and you're going to waste your time.
Gotcha.
A lot of times things don't happen. You a bad deal goes through, someone doesn't pay you, whatever it might be. It's part of the game. It's part of the risk. And not everyone's built for their own business.
No.
Because it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot. It's a mental drain because it's all on you. If you have a bad day, you feel like a failure. Plain and simple. For me, if something doesn't go, I'm like, what did I do? What mistake did I do? And sometimes it's not in my control, but it still affects me. I still feel that way.
As soon as you realize you take full accountability for everything that happens to you in your life, would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely.
So the money you make, the way you look, your relationships, once you understand whatever happens, it's on you. You got to accept the fact and you got to make it, you're the only person who can make a difference, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And when did you kind of figure that out?
When I need help and no one's there. So I'm like, dude, it's fucking on me then.
Gotcha. Hey, I'm not getting enough work. Hey, I need to work hard.
I got to dig myself out of this hole. I put myself in here. Who's going to help me get out? And you're reaching out and there's no one to help you. So you're like, all right, it's on me. So now, I celebrate my success, but if it's on me, it's my fault too.
Actually, I'm interested to ask you about that. I find I'm chasing goals. I achieve a goal. I never really look back, and I never really pat myself on the back. Mm-hmm. Is that do you do that? Are you just constantly like thriving towards the next goal, or do you sometimes reflect and be proud of yourself? And
I think you have to reflect, and like a big thing, like for me, is reflection and then gratitude.
Okay.
So you reflect. You're like, okay, what have I done? Okay, did I meet my goals? Yes. Like I always set goals every business quarter, 3 months.
Okay.
And realistically, I'll achieve it in 6 weeks. And then I have to like stop. And I'm like, all right, this is the goal. This is what I did. Did I achieve it the way I wanted to? Is it solid? Did I do it just to get it done? Or did I do it well? Okay. And then you reflect, you're like, okay, that was a good move. I like enjoyed that. And then like gratitude, you're like, fuck, man. Like for me, I'll tell my wife, I'm like, dude, I remember living in a car. I remember, I couldn't afford food. I remember I had to call my parents. I'm like, can you send me money for a jacket? Because it's cold as shit here. I thought it was going to be hot year round.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, you have to remember those struggles because it motivates you for the next chapter.
Gotcha.
When you forget, you lose your way.
Do you feel like having those lows are important as far as appreciation of moving forward? Because I know that's how I feel.
Also, those lows is relatability. Because not everybody has, not everybody starts on top.
No, most people don't.
Exactly. Like once you get to a certain thing and you have no reflection, no gratitude, then you're not really relatable anymore. And then like if you're trying to sell something or you're trying to go in a direction where you need people to buy your service, if you're not relatable, it's not going to work.
I always think about too, if you've never been overweight or obese, it's very hard to relate to someone who, hey, just do this and this is how you lose weight. It's very hard to put yourself in those shoes, in that mindset, in that depression or whatever it is.
But think about this. It's called the 1% for a reason, right? So the 99% that fuel the 1%, if you can't connect to them, how are you going to get to the 1%? It's relatability. You have to put yourselves in their mind. If you're selling a product, it's like Walmart. You think, the Waltons buy anything from their own store? No, but how they grew up in the South and everything and how they started, there's roots, and now they have other people that are in the struggle. I'm sure they have focus group with their employees and like, what do you need? What do you want to see? Blah, blah, blah. And they figure it out.
Relatability. I like that. Now you got me like thinking of my business now.
Yeah, I mean, that's all it is.
That's interesting.
If you fake it till you make it and you're too unrelatable, you're never going to make it.
That's what a lot of people are saying, like, especially with social media, is to show the struggle. Don't show where you make mistakes. Show the things you've done wrong. Because it's relatable.
Yeah, like in fitness, they don't look at how many ab videos they want to see. Like for me, like on my statistics, when I show when I was fat or before I entered fitness, those are the ones that get the most questions.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Like who cares? Like, okay, I can find someone that's even more ripped, or I can find someone that's even bigger. Nobody cares about that. They want to see the struggle.
Okay, I like that. You got me thinking now.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Like, okay, a bodybuilder can come here and tell you, like, I eat chicken rice every day. You're like, all right, whatever. But I mean, one time I messed up and this is what I had to do and I felt this way and I was guilty. And you're like, tell me more about that.
Yeah.
That's what you want to hear.
That's why I like when I do this and I get like fitness guys and like, where have you lost your motivation? How'd you get it back? Yeah. And some interesting stories where people have lost it. And I mean, everyone falls off track, even in business. It's so hard to just grind.
That's the thing. It's like laziness and complacency are the biggest struggles in anything, even relationships. If you're with your partner and you're not working together to grow forward, you get complacent, you grow apart.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same thing with your business. Like, I mean, I diversify because it gets stagnant. And then I'll find something else and it gets me excited. I'm passionate about it. And then I'm like, oh yeah, this is my first love. I'll go back to this. And this is what makes everything. And that's just what it is. I mean, everything for me, success is a perspective.
Yeah, okay.
It's how you view a situation. Either you view your situation, you're a victim, or you view it, you're like, all right, well, fuck it. This is something I got to get forward. I got to go, I got to move along. I got to push. So it's all your perspective.
Gotcha. What, as far as businesses you do now, what are your businesses?
I mean, consulting. I'm in the gun industry. I dabble with jewelry, high-end designer bags, real estate development. I have real estate here in town. Just whatever.
Are you a multifamily? You do single homes? Are you doing commercial?
Single in Mexico, commercial. So it's just whatever I'm interested in, and it's the same thing. If I can find someone that I can speak to and pick their brain, I'll be like, all right, well, I'll get into that industry.
Gotcha.
And just like, I mean, I'm fortunate that my main business funds everything else.
What's the main business?
My main business is a military surplus. So I distribute to the gun shops in town, magazines, bullets, like anything.
How do you get into that?
I graduated college in the recession in 2012. I couldn't find a job. I did a gun show and I was like, dude, I went to college. I can do this shit. No one here has degrees. They're all, they're truck people.
Yeah,
and I was like,
okay.
if they can do it and make a living, why can I? And that's what everyone's like, oh, I was working, 60, 70 hours a weekend for $200. And like now, I don't have to do that. I work less for more, but those are the dues that I paid for 10 years.
Yeah.
And people don't see that. I mean, how long would somebody work 60, 70 hours for $200 before they're like, fuck this?
Yeah. I think about it all the time. Yeah. So many people out there work for $8 an hour, 40 hours a week. I'll make an hour, and you're making way more than that. It blows my mind.
But you start there. You have to learn.
Yeah. Plus you got to go through that struggle to appreciate it.
Yeah.
What was with the gun business? What was the first? How did you get started with that?
Well, I started doing gun shows, and then I'm like, all right, well, I want to get in here. How do I get in here? Nobody wants to sell to me. Nobody wants to do anything. So I was buying retail and then just trying to beat with customer service. So I bought retail. Okay. I was trying to make money, with customer service, because there's other guys doing the same thing, but they're so big and they're just jerks because they're,
the arrogance and exactly. The cockiness, right?
So that helped me build my business. And then
what makes good customer service? Like, what were you doing differently?
Just being attentive. And gun shows, there's a lot of older people that just go to talk.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, well, I'll listen to whatever this guy has to say if he's going to buy from me.
Gotcha.
The other guy's like, what do you want? No, I don't have it. Boom, next. And I was like, well, if he's like that, I have to be the opposite. And I started going that route, and then it just started snowballing. And then some of them left their garbage after the show.
Okay.
So like the boxes, it got everything. So I went and I picked the labels and I saw where they were buying their stuff from. So then I looked up those companies. I'm like, hey, I have a business license. What do I need to do to get accounts with you guys? And it was their oversight that opened the door for me.
Love that. And
all it was is like, I did the work. I'm like, all right, well, let me see if I can find an invoice. Let me see what they're paying for it. Like, there's no way they can have this much, because at a gun show, each table is $120.
Okay.
They have 20 tables. They're spending $2,000 just to go. I had one table, and I had a 97 Lexus, and I was using like grocery bags to carry my product.
Yeah.
These guys have like boxes and dollies and trucks and trailers. I'm like, there's no fucking way they're getting it for the same price and have all this stuff.
Yeah, gotcha.
So
that's crazy. That's just being creative and just thinking outside the box.
Yeah, just trying to figure it out. I mean, That's the thing, is when you have nothing to lose, you have nothing to lose. So take the risk.
You a big gun guy?
I mean, I have them because I'm in the industry, but I mean, like, personally, I'm indifferent towards them. Like, to be honest. Like,
you don't shoot a lot, or you're not like typical guy who...
I used to. Now I really don't have time.
Okay.
I'm always traveling or in meetings or doing this or that. So, I mean, I enjoy it, but I mean, it's not a priority right now.
What about, just quickly off topic, like these shootings in America, the guns? What's, from someone who does that, what's your opinion on that?
It's always happened. It's just that for me, I just think they blow it out of proportion to distract from other things.
Okay.
So like, oh, there's Mississippi doesn't have running water, right? And like a case of water right now goes for like $50.
Yep.
Because right now their filtration system's off.
Okay.
That's something we don't know about. What are they going to do? It said Joe Biden said something about guns. Like, really? Mississippi doesn't have water? Parts of Michigan still doesn't have water, and it's been years. So I think it's a divisive instrument that they use just to change the topic.
Okay, interesting. I feel like there's a lot of things like that in America. Yeah. I feel like it's constantly something, COVID being a big one.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. Like, I mean, like, even like the Black Lives Matter protest. If COVID didn't exist, would it have been popular if people have to work? Yeah,
okay. Gotcha.
I mean, everybody was at home. They have spare time. They're getting an extra check. So, I mean, you can go protest because you have that freedom of time. If you have a job, a lot of those things happen all the time. There's racial inequality. It's part of our history. It's repeating itself all the time.
All the time, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. What was your next kind of business from the guns?
From the guns, I went to online. I diversified to distribution, to wholesale.
You just figured that out yourself, or you had a mentor, or?
No, I'm just like, fuck, like, this isn't enough money. Like,
gotcha.
I want to, like, what's the next step to make more money?
Gotcha.
So I started a website, and the same thing. The website started in 2012. My dad's like, oh, it's not going to work. People don't want to buy the shit online. They want to go in person. I'm like, well, even if it makes $100 a month, that's $100 more that I didn't have.
Without having to work for it either.
Exactly.
Setting something up.
I just put something in a box and send it out.
Yeah.
And now, like, he's like, how do you start a website? How do you do this? How do you do that?
So funny, right?
Yeah.
Everyone hates on it until you do it, and then like ask questions.
And that was the biggest thing. Like, when COVID happened, and obviously there's no gun shows, gun shops are, some of them were closed, and there's different things. I'm like, all right, what can I do? I was like, I have all this product sitting here, and I have no outlet. Website's okay, but I was like, what can I do? I started an eBay store. I made 6 figures in the first year.
Did you really?
Yeah. And all I did was like, I probably invested, I journal everything. I probably invested like 200 hours.
You journal everything?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
The process. Like I'll be like, okay, I'm going to try this. So I write everything down so I don't make the same mistake twice.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm like, oh, I'm going to try this because, eventually months go by and you're like, well, what happens if I do this? I already did it. It didn't work.
You try so many ways, you can't remember which way you tried.
Yeah, and you just keep going and
That's
going.
interesting. Yeah. With the fitness side, obviously you're a fit guy. You've done that your whole life? It's been a passion? Is that something you got into later on?
When I graduated college, I got a job as a professor and, a desk job. And I was like, I don't want to get fat. So I started,
what type of professor?
Sociology, business, communications.
Did you really? What was your degree?
I have a degree in sociology and I have one in communications.
Gotcha.
My master's MBA, but nonprofit emphasis.
Okay.
And PhD in government policy. I just haven't finished the dissertation.
Gotcha. So you are all about schooling for someone who doesn't do a lot of schooling now.
It's more the connections and the people you meet.
Okay, that was the reason. Yeah. Was that the reason behind it, or you just didn't know what else you wanted to do at the time?
I didn't know what I wanted to do, but they were paying for it. So I was like, I'll do here. And then you start networking and you start meeting other people. And then like a lot of my close circles, people I met through school.
Really?
Not even high school. I had the opportunity to go to a private high school, and a lot of those guys, they came from money, so they have no motivation.
Yeah.
Right now, they're still, I'm 32. They're in their 30s, living off their parents' money.
Yeah. That's
so for me. That's not crowd I want to be around.
Yeah.
In college, everyone's broke, and then you can kind of see like who's hungry, who wants to do what, or who's going to do something with their life.
Okay.
So that's how that's how my circle is. Like my big brother, my fraternity, he's my best friend, and we're both self-employed and we do very similar things.
Gotcha.
So like we'll talk and we'll bounce ideas off each other, and I mean that's the type of support you need. Same thing with fitness, right? If you're dieting, you want friends that are dieting so they get it.
Yeah, you don't want to going out drinking, partying.
Exactly. Same thing with business.
Is your wife entrepreneur? Like she entrepreneurship? Like she into that, or she works?
She has interest, so we're working on those things. Like she does like some boutique stuff, and I'm always telling her, I'm like, look, man, you get all this information for free. I'm like, pick my brain.
I literally had this conversation the other day.
And she wants to like do it on her own, which I respect. But I'm like, why, if I can expedite you from point A to point, Z.
It's like a pride thing or something, right?
I get it. I'm the same way.
Yeah. That's so funny you say that. I literally have this conversation because I read so much. Like I'm always telling my friends and close people the best parts of the books. Yeah. Like you guys don't have to read the damn books. You just get you get the highlights. You get the good stuff.
And that's how it is. When you reach a certain level of whatever industry, you're just going to tell them the good parts. But sometimes you got to tell them like, hey, if you do that, this is what's going to happen. Hey, if you do this, you're going to hurt yourself. Or if you make this investment, you're going to lose.
At least you're not telling them, no, it can't be done. You're just trying to guide them so they're more successful, right?
Yeah. I mean, like there was a time where I was interested in being a trainer because I really enjoy fitness.
Yeah.
And I get friends like, oh, how do you do this? Or how do you do that? And I'm like, look, if you want me to coach you, I'll do it for free. You have 2 weeks, lose 5 pounds.
Oh, I like that. So you got to prove yourself.
Yeah. And then like in 2 weeks, I'll be like, how's the diet going? They're like, oh man. And I was like, see, you're not ready then.
Yeah.
You're not serious. You're going to waste my time.
I like that.
And they're like, yeah, it's because, beer or this or that, or I had this event. And I'm like, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. So after college is when you're starting to get into like the gym and things?
No, I finished college at 21. I kind of lost myself, made a bunch of mistakes, blew a lot of money. And
just partying and things?
Partying. I was in rehab. I went to jail for a little bit. Like, it was just like a dark time.
What'd you do? Yeah.
It was just like a lot of different things with prescription pills and driving.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it was a dark time, but I needed that time to kind of find myself.
Was that an environment thing? Were you just around the wrong people?
It was just like emotional immaturity.
Okay.
Going through a breakup, not understanding, not having the emotional tools to kind of do that stuff. Yeah. So it was a dark time, but at that time is when I was starting my business.
Okay.
And my mom's like, just focus on getting better. Just focus on rehab. Because like I was delegating the work to my parents. Okay. I was like, hey, I need you to call this person. Like they would go and visit me. I'm like, I need you to do this, this, and this.
Gotcha.
And my mom's like, just focus on getting better. And I was like, no, this is going to pass and I'm going to regret not progressing towards my goals.
Gotcha. What'd you learn by having such a low? Like such
Who's there? I mean, like for me, like, okay, I have like my best friends and then my parents, like they just, they're amazing. They're like, all right, whatever you need, no judgment. And I mean, that's something not everybody has.
No, it's funny, man. You when you grow up with good parents, you don't realize that most people don't have that.
Exactly.
It's not until you start dating and meeting other people you realize that a lot of people don't have a good family whatsoever.
Yeah.
I've been very blessed. Still got parents, and they've been amazing their entire life.
Yeah, and that's like the biggest thing. Like once I passed that period in my life, like I didn't really date, and my wife's like, "Why? You know, you had money to this," and I was like, "Cause I have a list." She's like, "What's on your list?" I'm like, "I don't want to date someone that has divorced parents." I'm like, "I don't want to date someone that's this, this, and this," and she's like, "Why?" And I was like, "Because when you get married, you marry their family." I was like, if they have divorced parents, they're gonna tell you divorce is okay. They're not gonna be like, work it out, and if it doesn't work, then you know they're gonna be like, "No, it's fine. Take the easy way out."
Gotcha.
So I mean, it's the same thing. Like, I mean, yeah, it's kind of a long list. I was like, another thing is like, I wouldn't date someone that doesn't have a degree because they don't understand the discipline that it takes to get the degree.
Okay.
Or if their parents don't have an education, then I don't want them to ask me for money. Or if they have a sibling that's kind of, you know, a wild card, what if they have to come live with us? And, you know, if I have a family, that's going to be the environment they're in.
So you got a certain standard what you're looking for.
And at that time, like, I was in no position to ask for those things.
But I mean, the fact you set those is amazing, because you obviously set that for yourself as well, right? Yeah. It's Tony Robbins, like setting, like he always talks about like raising your standards.
Yeah.
Whatever standard you hold for yourself, physically, financially, is where people are at. Yeah. And someone who's overweight has a low standard for himself. Someone who's broke has a low standard for himself. Yeah. And he always talks about raise your standards. It's literally his go-to word. And you raise your standards even when you weren't in that position, but this is what you're striving to get to, right?
Well, I mean, and maybe subconsciously I was like, if I can get somebody that has that kind of family, they can help me.
Well, that too, right?
Yeah, like it's not financially, but mentorship. My parents didn't go to college. You know, my wife's dad's a lawyer. So I'm like, I pick his brain, and I'm like, okay, well, this or that or this. So you have access to people, and that's what people are scared of. If someone's better than you, most of the time they get defensive, and they don't want to figure out why they're better. They'll make an excuse. Oh, they're better because of that.
It's so true, right? It's an ego thing too. I feel like guys are the worst for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I remember when I first started going to the gym, big dude, walked up, what do I got to do? Yeah. No ego, 2 ears, 1 mouth. 2 ears, 1 mouth for a reason. And just, what do you do? What have I got to do? How often do I got to train? What do you take? Yeah. And that's how you succeed. That's why I read so much. That's why I get people like you. Yeah. You can never learn enough, and you got to strive. I was at Starbucks. This guy rocked up in this beautiful car. And I was like, what do you do? Could we get coffee sometime? Yeah. No one else does that.
No one at all. They're just like, oh, they'll say something, but they don't ask how.
And guess what? He was super nice. Do you find the more successful people, the nicer they are, and the more willing to help if they've got time? Yeah. It's crazy, right? But everyone's like, it's easy just to put them down, make excuses, they're this, they're that.
Well, it's like, think of it like the pretty girl syndrome, right? They're like, oh, the prettiest girl in the room is the loneliest because everyone's scared to talk to her. Yeah. Same thing with success. If you have a Rolex or this or that or whatever, people are like, oh, I don't want to ask them about that. It's too invasive. I don't care. I'll sit and talk about business for hours. I enjoy doing it. That's my passion.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's the same thing. Like when you get to a certain level, or even at the gym, right? You have the biggest guy there. Nobody wants to talk to him. Yeah,
you're right. Yeah. Even where I'm at now, I feel less people are kind of like just turn the head or like, I'm the nicest chilled guy ever.
Exactly. And like the biggest guy at the gym, you talk to them and they look like that because that's their passion. Why wouldn't they want to talk about their passion?
I love that.
Like that's exactly what they want to talk about.
Love that.
Like you're not going to go to him and be like, have you read Shakespeare? He'll be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
But yeah, talk to him about obviously what he's into.
Yeah, he'll tell you like, oh, it's my diet. I did it like that. That's
obviously you're into cars. That's why you drive the car you do. And
so that's what I'm saying. Like that's the mentality. Like I said, it's a perspective.
So when did you start lifting weights?
I started CrossFit when I was like 25.
So CrossFit was your first thing?
That was like the first intro because I had an aunt who did it.
Okay, I was going to say, why CrossFit?
I was like super self-conscious, and I was like, well, if you go, I'll go.
Were you in shape? Were you a little bit fluffy?
No, I was big. I was a big dude. Like
you're overweight, were you?
Yeah, I was like 240, 245.
Wait, really? How tall are you?
I'm 5'9", so I mean, that's a lot.
So you're pretty big. Yeah. What caused you to get to that point? Like being overweight?
I was like going through like depression and drinking and partying.
Okay, so you just on this downhill spiral, and that was another part of it.
Yeah, it's like you said, like I didn't have any standard for myself at that point.
Gotcha.
And I just let it go, and then I started losing a little bit of weight, and I was like, I need to get into these programs or do something. Just
what made you want to like step up a bit?
It just got easy. So, like I was doing the classes, I take 2 classes a day. It just got easy. It wasn't challenging. And I was like, I saw that some people were competing and I'm like, how'd you do that? What's it like? What's the process? Explain it to me.
Are you a competitive guy?
Oh, very competitive. Yeah.
Like even when you're younger, or was that something kind of
all the time?
Oh, really?
Like I always want to be the best. Like I don't even like playing video games with people because like I'll get upset over something so trivial.
You just got to win.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a bad thing.
It's not if you're aware of it. It's not.
Yeah.
There's a time and place.
Gotcha. How long did you do CrossFit for? So you competed in CrossFit?
No, I did CrossFit for about 1.5 years, and then I talked to one trainer. I was like, "Hey, you competed. You think I can do it?" And she was like, "Absolutely." And I was like, "All right, fuck it." I'm like, "All right, what do I need to do? Tell me what I need to do or whatever." So I did my first competition at 27, dead fucking last. But I was like, it's the same thing as my business. I'm like, I see I can go far if I stick to it.
I love that.
And I was like, I'm always challenging about myself. Same thing with business and everything. I was like, all right, this got easy. I'm going to do this. I'm like, all right, I got dead last. I could be like, all right, I'm done. And I was like, no, let me do it again. Let me see if I can get better. Let me do it again if I can get better. And then every show I got better, better and better. And I was like, all right, well, now my goal is like when I get my pro card, then I'll figure out the next chapter. Like
gotcha.
that'll be the end of this chapter. And I decide if I want to keep going or not, or what I want to do. But it's just like,
what do you tell someone as far as staying motivated when you are coming last and you feel like you're not even
I mean realistically it depends. Do you like it? Then brush it off. And I always tell people, I'm like, all right, the show's Saturday, by Tuesday nobody gives a fuck. It doesn't matter. It's not like people are going to be like, oh, I saw you got last.
Mark Cuban says that a lot. No one remembers your failures, only remember your successes.
Exactly.
You've only got to be like right once.
Yeah.
So you're getting that, like, nobody really cares, right?
Exactly. Nobody cares.
Yeah, I feel like so many people worry about doing things because they're so worried about other people's opinions. And they're really, no one's watching you at the gym. No one gives a crap what you're doing at the gym. They're too busy worried what you think of them. And same thing in business, same thing with life. I don't know why, I don't know where that comes from, but everyone's so caught up that everyone's watching everybody all the time. Everyone's judging. Because everyone's just doing their thing.
Failure's not interesting.
I like that.
Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, there's failures all the time. You can see a homeless guy, it's not interesting to you. But if you recognize his face and he's in a Rolls Royce, you'll be like, how'd you do that?
That's very true.
But if he's still on the corner, you could care less.
Yeah, that's very true.
I've lived here 14 years. I know the same. Like, I know the guy that's been on the exit of Sahara. He's been here for 14 years doing the same shit, right? Nobody knows anything about him, whatever it is. But if he came on TV and he's like, oh, I was here, people are like, oh, I know who he is. Failure's boring.
That's interesting.
Nobody cares.
I like that. Do you read? Do you get a chance to read business books, things like that, or are you too busy?
I read a lot of articles, and I read a lot of like business literature, Forbes, Bloomberg, stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like, even though it doesn't pertain to me, there's always education in it.
What type of stuff you get out of reading that? You find
strategies.
So
like okay, you see like a like a leverage takeover, right? How I bring it down to my scale. How can I make that apply to my business?
How do you get that mindset, thinking that way? Because that's a unique mindset.
Why not me?
I love that.
Like, it's plain and simple. Like, I mean, it's very cliche, but it's like, why can't I do it?
I feel like that should be stuck to everyone's mirror, right?
Yeah, like what makes someone so special that I can't do it? Like, are they better than you? No. Like, it's the same thing in any sport or whatever it is. I mean, yeah, there's certain limitations. Like, I'll probably never be able to dunk. Like, but I could be the best shooter.
Yeah.
I could be the best passer. I can be better at something else. So it's the same thing. Like, why not me? But you have to live it, not just say it.
I like that. I like that a lot too. You seem to have a lot of good quotes. You got a favorite quote?
I mean,
what's something that just like really is like in strong? I got a lot of.
I mean, that's the thing. Is just why not me? Why can't I do it?
I love that. Maybe. I love like seek discomfort, but so I really like that.
Yeah, it's
too.
Like what is it that I cannot do? Like, give me a reason of why. Oh, this. Okay, but that's not an excuse. That's not a reason why. That's an excuse. Oh, because you don't have this background. That's not a reason. Like, tell me why I can't do it. And if you can give me a good enough reason, I won't try.
Gotcha.
And plain and simple, like, everyone doesn't say shit.
No one's ever given you good enough reason.
No.
I love that. That's so cool. What's some of the, with your business consultation, have you had any like real success stories where you helped people?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I enjoy doing it. And I feel like if I didn't have any success, then I wouldn't be good at my job.
What's an example of something that you've like?
I mean, a lot of stuff is like private because I don't want to put them on blast, but a lot of times it's like you just change the perspective and they're like, oh, that shit works. Or like, oh, I started doing that. And then the most rewarding thing is when they start connecting the dots on their own.
Yeah, okay.
Like you're like, oh,
so
I
you kind of
get
give them a bit of a push in a certain direction.
Because you can't give them all the answers.
Yeah,
like
okay.
you kind of gotta, like the biggest thing is like, okay, this is how you have to, like, okay, what happens when you see this? Or when they have an idea, I'll play devil's advocate. I'm like, okay, your idea is good. What are some negative things that can happen? And then that's when they start unlocking the self-doubt. Oh, what happens if I do this or that? And I'm like, okay, now you know all the negatives. Are any of those going to ruin your life? No. So then what do you have to lose by sticking with your plan?
Gotcha.
And that way,
it's so simple, right?
It's so simple.
Yeah. It's just like we're constantly fighting ourselves.
Yeah.
And you don't seem to fight yourself. You seem to just give yourself permission that
you just got to think ahead. And like I told you earlier, is trusting yourself. With accountability, like, I mean, was it like Goggins has it like, oh, do your bed, do this, do that. I mean, to an extent, right? But at the same time, like I'm working on a book, and one of the chapters, like the first chapter is, you know, find yourself, bet on yourself. And everyone already does this shit. They just don't put the title on it.
Okay.
Like you said, someone that works at Walmart, $8 an hour, right? Their goal is to make it to work next day. So if your goal is to be rich, break it down to steps. What do I need to do? First goal, get a business license. Second goal, get an idea, right?
Okay.
Et cetera, et cetera. When you work at Walmart, your goal is to get to work. First goal, set an alarm. Second goal, get ready, you know, get dressed. Third goal, make your lunch. You know, then plan what time to leave. It's all those steps to get to the goal, right? Now you just got to change the variables.
I love that.
Like, oh, I want to buy a house. What do you need to do? I need to have my credit. I need to have this. It's the same shit. It's just different variables.
Breaking down in simple form. Yeah. Achievable, short-term goals, right?
And then that's how you start trusting yourself, right? You know you're going to get to work the next day. But if you set a goal for your house, do you know you're going to pay your bill to get your credit up? Or you know, a lot of people don't want it. It's too hard.
Gotcha. What are you going to call your book?
Just Think for Success. It's just a different perspective. Because I feel like it's, all these principles apply for everything. You know, your relationship, finances, business. Because like I said, not everyone's meant to be a business person. It's very emotional taxing. And if you're not emotionally, mentally strong, it's not going to be for you. Yeah,
and I know a lot of people talk about there's nothing wrong for working someone else.
No.
Like, not everybody's supposed to be an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
It's a full-time hustle. You haven't got it.
Some people want that stability. And being an entrepreneur, no matter how successful, it's not stable.
I met a lady the other day. She'd worked for herself, a bunch of different businesses, been successful, and now she works at a phone shop and she's totally content.
Yeah, because she's tired of the responsibility. She's like someone else's problem.
That's exactly. She goes, I just want to check in and check out, and that's it. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Things change.
But she knows that that's what she wants.
Yeah.
So she never has to wonder what if or I should have. No, she knows what she wants, and it's okay. It's okay. You know, we need employees.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, so you can't, like, I already know not everyone's going to be a millionaire. Not everyone's going to be self-employed. It's not for everybody because they want that stability. They don't like the unknown. I thrive on the unknown.
Me too.
Because it's limitless. At the same time, yeah, it's like, you know, when you work for yourself, you can write yourself a $10 million check or a zero.
Yeah, it's being comfortable, being uncomfortable. Yeah, I like to put it. What is your goals now? What you got? You got some big goals coming up. Obviously, you got a book coming.
I mean, like
that's a pretty big goal.
The book is like I've been working on that for 10 years. Like when I was in college, my mentor, the best advice he gave me to sidetrack was, if you can't do it, hire someone that can.
Yeah, talk to me about that.
Because he's like, okay, you're bad at math. How long is it going to take you to get proficient to do what you need? Versus you hire somebody, you know, say you spend $50 to $100, you just saved yourself all those hours.
Someone to fix a light in the house or something, right?
Exactly.
Like, I'm going to pay someone else because the time and effort.
Okay, what if you watch YouTube, you're like, I think I got it, you blow a fuse and now you have to call an electrician and you pay twice.
Yeah, exactly. So you're a big fan. I'm right up the alley with you on that one.
So it's that's the best advice I got. That's something I think about all the time when I'm like, oh, I can learn to do that. For what? I'll learn it on my time, but I'll hire someone, you know, professional, and I'll learn from them. I
feel like a lot of people think, oh, I can do everything. I've got to do everything. I can save money. No, there's nothing wrong with outsourcing. Like, I outsource all the time. And time is everything, right?
You can replace money, you can't replace time. Like all the hours that you invest in something, you're never going to get back. The money you'll get back. I mean, I'm sure if you think about all the money you wasted on stupid things in your whole life, you're never going to, you can replace it.
Yeah.
You know, like people that bought Beanie Babies and all this bullshit, right? They're probably doing fine now, but the time that they wasted, they're never going to get it back.
Yeah, I like that. That really gets you thinking, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The book I just read, they're like, you can pay someone else to do the same job or better, pay him.
Exactly.
Don't do it. find something else. Like your time is so valuable that you could be learning a new skill, you could be doing something new, outsource all you want, and free up your time to do bigger, better things.
I mean, that's the thing, is like when you have a lot of business, you have to put a lot of fires. There's always something or something going wrong or something you got to take care of. If I have to take away from that and I neglect that to take care of something that I could have just paid for, I'm going to pay for it twice.
Okay.
In time, and then the mistake someone else made.
What's have you got good habits you've developed? What's some examples of habits and like
the best habit is follow through whatever I say.
Ooh, I like,
if I say I'm gonna take the cans out tomorrow, I have to do it.
Okay.
And there's been times like I travel, I'm jet lagged, I'm on a different time zone, I get home like at 4 a.m, but I know the trash comes out at 6. I just want to pass out, I gotta take them out.
Okay.
You know, if I have dogs, I gotta take them out. If not, I know they're gonna have, you know, an accident.
Did you find your mentality trends like transferred into fitness really, really easy and really well?
Oh, definitely.
Like just ability, like your diet, your consistency, all that.
It's the same discipline. It's like,
it's
okay,
same
I'm
discipline,
paying for this, I have to go to the workout.
Yeah.
If my goal is to compete, I can't miss a workout, I can't miss a meal, I can't do this.
Well, do my business by half. My fitness is half. Like you're not going to get where you need to be.
And I kind of learned that from my dad. I asked him, like, Dad, you're like Superman. You're always at our games. You're always this. You're always involved. I was like, how do you do it? And he's like, there's 24 hours in a day. He's like, how many hours do you need to sleep? 2, 3? So that gives you 22 hours to do what you need to do. He's like, if that's not enough time, he's like, you have to reevaluate where you're wasting time.
Gotcha. Yeah, they always say that a billionaire and someone who's broke's got the same amount of time. Just what they're doing with it.
Exactly, and that's the thing. Like people don't realize. They're like, oh, see on your phone the analytics. It tells you how much screen time you're using. You know, are you reading? Are you doing this? What are you doing to better your goal or achieve your goal? And that's the thing. Like when I tell people, I'm like, oh, you want me to train you to lose 5 pounds in 2 weeks? That's a long time. Literally, like they can go out drinking on a Wednesday. They'll be dehydrated and have the 5 pounds off the scale for their check-in.
Yeah, you can pass that off.
Exactly. You can pass it off and be like, yeah, I'm legit, and move forward. But they don't think ahead.
Yeah, and that's also thinking outside the box too.
Yeah, if you do that, then it's like, fuck it, you got to where I told you to get, so
gotcha.
You know, you'll figure it out.
Would you say your dad's been the biggest influence on your life?
Yeah, he's been a big influence in my life just because, I mean, he's first generation, he figured it out. So I'm like, all right, if he can figure it out and, you know, I've had education, why can I take it to the next level? Why can I go up? Like we have these conversations all the time. Like right now, like I'm in the process of having developing property in Mexico. He's like, oh, we can just get this. I'm like, if I'm gonna build something over here, it has to be the same comfort that I have in America or better.
Gotcha.
Why would I want something less?
Okay.
And when I told him that, he was like, I was like, well, yeah, you're right. I'm like, what? He's like, why the fuck am I gonna build something over there? And when you come visit, you're on a couch. If you have your own room and your own house over here.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's like, well, yeah, I can. I'm like, so it's the same thing.
Have you by taking action and have you motivated your family and people around you?
Oh, definitely. I mean,
so you've been the person to step up and everyone's like, oh my God, if he can do it, I can do it.
In a sense, yeah. And like, I pride myself in that.
That's
like
awesome.
For me, it's a win. And a lot of people are like, I want to be the only one. No, like you're successful if you can make other people successful. Then you truly have, you know, then you're on the right path.
2 questions for you. Yep. Do you speak Spanish, obviously?
Yeah, that's my first language.
Is that a huge advantage with like what you're doing as far as?
Definitely.
How's that really helped you?
One, because I can do my own deals over there. I don't need a translator.
Yeah, I was gonna say that must be huge.
And then
especially this close to the border.
It's just relatability. I mean, you know, whatever it may be, like the handyman, gardeners, all that stuff, I can speak their language, so they approach me differently than someone else.
Gotcha.
Like I'll talk to them and like whatever, and like just, you know, gardening. My neighbor pays like almost $300, and I'll tell him, I'm like, well, I'm like, this is what I need, blah blah blah. And he's like, for you, he was like, just give me $80 or whatever. And I'm like, all right, dude, like,
nice.
Exactly. So it's just relatability to people.
Okay.
And it's like him, like he's always like, he's like, you're the only one that talks to me. He's like,
really?
Yeah. He's like, you're the only one that he's like, you're the only one that looks me in the eye and the only one that talks to me.
That's so nuts, right? It blows my mind over this country. Some of the things.
Yeah.
Like, in Australia, we mow our own lawns, we wash our own windows, we clean our own cars. There's nothing wrong with that, but I feel like here it's kind of looked down upon. I don't know why that is. Like,
I think
work is work.
I think one, people don't want to work. We're a lazy fucking country.
Yeah.
2, I think in this country we're just slaves to our jobs.
We really are.
You wake up at 6, you get home at 6, you're tired, and you have kids and dinner and this and that. When do you have time? And then your only day off is Saturday, your only full day, because Sunday you're preparing for the week again.
And we hate our job. We're stuck in the rat race.
Exactly. Yeah. So Saturday comes, you're like, are you going to want to work? Or are you going to want to like, fuck, I got to take care of my kids or do other stuff? And I think that's where that disconnect is.
Yeah, okay. Finally, happiness. What makes you happy? What do you think? Like, obviously, like I feel like a lot of people think that money is happiness.
Yeah.
I mean, someone who's got money, someone who's doing well. What do you think people going wrong? What do you think people should strive towards mainly?
I think the same thing with happiness, fulfillment, success, passion. There's not a one size fits all. And social media
is different for everybody, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like if someone loves being a mechanic, they're going to be happy. But if you don't like being a mechanic, you're like, oh, I would fucking hate that job.
Yeah.
And happiness is different factors, right? So the way I think, I look at it like a pie chart.
Yeah.
How much do you know yourself? You're like, okay, family's 50%. Or family, like my dad's like, family's 90%. If my family's good, I'm happy.
Okay.
Right? And then other people are like, okay, if my business is 30% because it's my baby, you know, my family's this much, you know, my, you know, self-fulfillment's this much, my gym. It's whatever your pie chart tells you is your happiness.
Gotcha.
And people misconstrue that, right? They're like, oh, this person is this. They're happy because of that. That's their priority.
So you're working out their balance for them.
What's your balance? What's your priority? What do you like?
I like that.
And that's what people get. They're like, oh, well, he's doing this and he's happy, so I got to do that to be happy.
What's your balance? Like, what's your pie chart?
My balance is just like...
You got kids?
I don't have any kids.
No kids.
No, my balance is more, am I fulfilling the promises I make myself?
Okay.
And then I'll be happy. Am I a good partner? Am I a good friend? Am I a good mentor? Am I doing what I need to do that I tell myself this is my goal? If I achieve it, then I'm happy.
And you seem like the type of person, like lead by example, like person of integrity. You do what you say you're going to do, and you hold yourself accountable. And by doing that, you motivate and you encourage other people to follow, right?
And that's what I tell people. I'm like, look, dude, I'm a lot of things. I'm a jerk. I swear. I do this. I do that. Whatever. But if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Plain and simple. You can think I'm the most unpleasant person, but you know, if you ask me to do something and I agree to it, you can count on me.
Which is huge. How many people can say that?
Exactly. Like they're like, well, I'm a nice guy. I'm like, okay, but at the end of the day, can I count on you?
I feel like it's three main things. Like I feel like integrity, do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
Number 2, be punctual. Number 3, treat other people the way you want to be treated. I feel like to me that is core. That is the main thing that I strive to be towards.
Yeah.
And I want people around me to be the same.
Exactly.
I hate waiting for people. Hate when people are late.
Exactly.
Hate when people cancel. Like this, you're here, you're on time. We do what we're doing, and we go our way. And
it's
that's
courtesy. Right?
It's treating people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah, you show up on time, or it's a courteous, like he can't make it, like, hey man, whatever. But you give them so much of a heads up, and like, okay, you can pivot.
Or be straight up about it, right? If you're in the wrong, hey, I was wrong. I messed up. Be accountable to yourself. Be a man.
And if you do that, then business is easy. You're going to get a speed bump. You're like, all right, let me adjust. Let me, make this move or whatever I need to do.
Or let me fix this. Let me redo this. Whatever it takes.
Because that's how it is, man. Business is messy.
Yeah.
There's always something going wrong. There's always, an obstacle or whatever it is. Like, pivot out. Like, I have a friend who owns a jewelry shop and they got robbed and, he was distressed and I was like, is everyone okay? He's like, yeah. And I was like, then that's all that matters.
It is what it is, right?
I was like, they're just things. I'm like, you have insurance, right? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, then fuck it. Then, what is it that's in your control?
Yeah. I always say that if I leave my wallet on the front seat of my car gets broken into, what's on me?
Exactly.
I learned the lesson. Don't do it again. It's no point telling 50,000 people for the next month because it's just gonna.
But it's not even that.
It's gonna keep it fresh.
You'd be like, well, at least it was my wallet, not my passport.
Yeah. Or just move forward. Hey, I shouldn't have done that. Learn my lesson and move on. It is what it is.
That's what it is. Like nothing's gonna change by complaining.
No.
Like plain and simple.
Yeah, I mentioned this the other day. The only person who wants to hear you complain is your mortician or your doctor.
Yeah.
That's it, right?
That's it. Like nobody cares.
Yeah.
Because failure is not attractive.
And the other people do care. The people complain. The people are like, you shouldn't be hanging around it anyway.
Yeah.
So like, you complain to you can be like, shut up.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like people are like, oh, like you have this. I'm like, dude, I really don't care about your relationship problems. Like, those are your fucking problems.
I love it. I feel like more people, there's no gray area, right?
Yeah.
Just be black and white with someone.
That's how I am. And that's when my circle is small. Like my circle is small. They know how I am. And
But they probably appreciate you for who you are.
Yeah. So that way when they like want a straight answer, they're like, well, you're the only person who can give it to me. And I'm like, well, that's, I pride myself in those things.
I love that, man. Dude, thank you so much for your time. That was an absolute pleasure. I would actually love to have you back on and
just let me know.
talk some more business.
Work it out.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my book will be done in January, so I'll get you a copy.
Yeah, I'd love to read, dude. I read about 60 books a year, and I'm obsessed, and I'd love to read your book.
Yeah, no, it's going to be free because I don't feel like information should cost anything.
And that's even better. Freaking, dude, you haven't read it, man.